Alright guys, welcome back to the Just One vlog. Just one game, one level. I didn't know if I was gonna sneak a video in this week or not. I've been really busy as always, just trying to get some stuff done, and man, before I know it, the week is over. One of the things, trying to get the house together, because I've kind of alluded to that in a few Instagram posts and whatnot, that the house is about ready to go up for sale here, and so trying to deal with all of that. And one of the things that goes along with that, I've been trying to sell stuff and get rid of things that I don't really want to move, and I didn't know what a shit show that could actually be. I mean, I guess I've done it before, like the whole Craigslist, OfferUp, what's the other one? Let Go. And I've got some stuff listed on there, like usually like bigger items, things that I don't think I can, or I don't want to ship on eBay or whatever, you know, just should be simple. And man, people are just unbelievable. And I mean, this is really just a bitch session at this point, but just the nonsense of just very generic messages, people saying, oh, I'm interested in this. Great, come and get it. And then, I kid you not, one individual, 14 minutes later, sorry, not interested. Well, then why'd you send me the message? It's just, everything has just been like such a waste of time between those apps. I've just been really frustrated. And then, aside from that, I don't know how some of you feel about this, but I'm not really like a guy who bargains and deals and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm listing the item at the price that I'd like to sell it for, and quite honestly, you know, this particular thing that I'm trying to sell, the price is about a third of what I paid for it, so it's not like I'm screwing anybody over. So the fact that you're messaging me and then, you know, haggling on price, and just it's everybody trying to do it, and it's like, Jesus. No, I don't want you to come and pick the item up for $75 less than what I have it listed as. It's just bizarre, some of the messages and stuff that I get, and I think the one that really is just a pet peeve is it still available? Well, yeah, it's still available. It wouldn't be listed if it wasn't. I even had to change my listing to basically say, you know, if the item's listed here, I'm pretty diligent about taking down things that I've sold. So, you know, if it's here, it's available. There's no need to message and ask that. And still, you know, I've just gone to the point where I've started ignoring that kind of stuff because it's people not reading the listing and not paying attention, and people basically wanting stuff for nothing, and that's just been really frustrating. So yeah, the move is going well. So some people have been asking about Pulstar, and I am actually editing that right now. So I don't know when that'll actually be available, but Pulstar, I'm happy to say, is actually well, the Neo Geo Alpha to Z series. That episode is filmed and completed. I just have to get it out there now. But that's a huge weight, because that game, man, I don't know if I've struggled with a game in recent memory like I have that. It just was really a taxing adventure, and just learning a lot of things. There's a lot of timing issues that you have to memorize with Pulstar, and it's not just knowing the flight path and where to go with that game, but it's also, you know, the enemies will fire at different rates depending on the different paths you take, or your own timing, and so it's keeping track of all of that. So yeah, that game has just been really taxing and difficult on top of everything else. It was kind of a bad time for me to be trying to hammer that out, but I did, and you know, in the next couple weeks or so, I'll get it all pulled together and put it out there. So today's game, now that we're probably about halfway through this, is Super Smash TV for Super Nintendo. This was one of my childhood favorites. Other Joe and I often played this co-op, and this was often a Friday night for us in middle school. So really fond memories of this one. If you remember the arcade, there was a stick layout, like the dual sticks that you had to use. And so what they did for Super Nintendo, the buttons on the side obviously fire your gun. The D-pad moves your character around, but basically, holding down 2 buttons fires at a diagonal, and that's how they solved that problem. And it actually works pretty well. I don't mind playing this. Now I know this is actually out for Nintendo, and maybe I should give that a go. I've played it once, and you use both controllers, and so you use both D-pads, and I think it's your left D-pad controls your character, and the right D-pad then fires your gun, and you just kind of roll your thumb. It's kind of a cool setup and an interesting way to have solved that problem, especially considering they're putting this out on the NES. It's just crazy, but good use of both controllers. Ooh, that was a tight one. So yeah, I always like this game. I'm playing this on the Super NT. I do have this game complete in box, or obviously the original cart, but for today's purposes it's just running off of the SD to SNES, which is more than adequate for capturing purposes. It's obviously no different than if I had popped in the real cart. And the Super NT is just a great system, and I really am glad that I picked it up. It just, the graphics and output, 1080p for all your Super Nintendo games. There's just a multitude of options in the menu. It takes original carts, it takes flash carts, it takes, Super Nintendo and, Super Famicom carts. It's really, I think, their Analog's motto is preserving gaming history, and I think that's kind of what flashes on their website now. And I think that's true. I mean, FPGA is really picking up, it seems, in the last year or so, and it's great to be able to have the option to just HDMI out from a console. There's those clone systems that are out, but that basically rip the cartridge that you put in to a ROM, and then it'll emulate and play the ROM that it rips from the cartridge. And that's okay, but the FPGA mimicking actual hardware, it's much cooler, and obviously a bigger endeavor too. But I appreciate that for what it is, and really am glad that I picked up the Super NT. So this is the final boss for stage 1, so this will probably wrap up today's check-in. Mutoid Man reminded me at the time, you guys remember Butterbean, the boxer? He was often in the Tough Man competitions, and in fact, I think there was even a Tough Man game for Genesis, and he was on the cover. Mutoid Man always reminded me of like the cyborg version of Butterbean. But yeah, ultimately this game is right in my wheelhouse for an after work kind of game, just something relatively mindless that you can pick up and play and don't have to worry too much about thinking. Obviously it is an arcade game, so if that's not obvious, that's definitely my preferred genre these days. I think what'll happen here, yeah, he's gonna lose his head, and then he'll have one more form where he kind of shrinks down. Just gotta watch these other guys that come through, because they explode, and oh boy, and the shrapnel from them is what's gonna get you. by and large. First level, not too difficult. Really kind of distracted today, but normally I can just rip through this without losing a life pretty easily. Well, that is the end of Mutoid Man, as well as today's Just One vlog. Thank you all for listening to me ramble a little bit about humanity in general. That felt good to get that off my chest this week. I am looking forward to getting Pulstar out, as well as a few other videos that I'm working on that I think you guys will like. Definitely appreciate all the comments and feedback that you guys give me. I'm closing in on 2,000 subs, which is another really cool and surprising milestone, to be honest. And I really thank you guys for all the time that you take to like and comment on these videos. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll catch you next time.